Wow.
or go into your refrigerator when you feel like it, or turn on your TV when you feel like it. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's because they're in prison. It's not supposed to be paradise, or it's not supposed to be easy. And I agree, it's not supposed to be easy. But let's not kid ourselves in the standpoint of what from day to day, what a day-to-day situation is in that environment. And just speaking for myself, like I said, I don't speak on behalf of the state, but speaking as for myself, the one refreshing thing that I find is that when I walk out of work every day, my appreciation for walking out that gate is totally different.
Yeah,
I walk out that gate. I've been locked up for 12 hours back there.
Right.
Couldn't leave. And then after that end of my shift, I get to walk out. And the world looks a lot different for me,
Yeah, because a lot of times people don't understand, even, you're right, because even when we hear about people getting those, what do they call them, like the resort jails and things of that nature, yeah, they might be resort jails. I'm thinking about like some of the high-profile cases and everything. They might be resort jails in terms of what they're allowed, versus the standard prisoner. But these folks also had a very resort kind of lifestyle. So they are, a lot of those privileges that they used to have also been taken away. So, yeah, they might have a little bit more privileges than, say, the average prisoner, but they have also become a prisoner. So they also have to lose their rights to the TV or different other privileges. They might get some more exercise time, or they might get some other benefits, but they are still, in most cases, serving a prison term. So they have to face those same kind of rules. And even when they come out, a lot of times it looks like they have a hard time reacclimating themselves back to society, particularly I'm thinking of some of these high-profile cases where then the person has come back into the mainstream, whether that's somebody like way back in the day like Tyson, the boxer, or whether that's some of these other folks that have come out of the entertainment world or the political world and then come back out. And it just seems, from what I've read about them, I've never met them personally, but from what I read about them, it looks like they oftentimes had a hard time identifying and making and able to re-enter, like you said. And I oftentimes wonder if they say that we're all, one paycheck, maybe two paychecks at best away from poverty, and we're probably not that far away if we're really honest with ourselves from being in the penal system. I mean, it only takes one mistake, and that mistake can be something else, as simple as missing a few rent payments. It can be something as simple as this or that could eventually wind you up in the penal system. So I'm thinking that we're probably only one or two steps away from that. I've been fortunate, knock on wood, that I've never had to really go into extended stay, but I do remember one time many years ago when some friends of mine were at North Carolina Central, and I thought I was trying to help them out and went through the court system, and they gave me just some community service, and part of that community service was working at a youth center. And I can tell you that working at that youth center, and that was a youth center in Durham, and this was, I was probably in my 30s at the time, maybe in my late 20s, but just working at that youth center definitely gave me a fresh perspective on what folks have to go through. And I only had to do like X amount of community service hours that then eventually got expunged. So like if somebody was to do a record search, they won't even find it because it was totally expunged and everything, because that's what the reward for doing this was. But I remember doing that community service work, and I'm sitting there going like, I am glad I am not here on a regular basis.
Right. It's a eye opener, but I mean, like you said, I think that you can simply just be in the wrong place at the wrong time and get caught up in different situations. But like I said, with what we're trying to do right now is, once again, we try to come back to once they get ready to come home, because they're wearing something on them that says, okay, I'm formerly incarcerated. That's a lot for family, that's friends, and especially for people that may employ you. So we look at it and people say, well, once again, they say, well, what are you doing? Because, of course, you hear about all of the things that prisons and everything doesn't do. You hear about the negative things, and negative things do happen. But then there's the positive things that take place, too. like when we say with our reentry council, which is great. They started doing reentry around the state with partnership with different community partnerships. It's a great organization in Durham that's called Welcome Home. Those guys that were formerly incarcerated, the guys get ready to come out, and Durham in itself, I mean, when you look at it, they get from this guy, they give them a box when they first get out. In that box is a prepaid cell phone for a month. That enables them to be able to contact an employer, be able to, it's a smartphone, so it gets be able to do applications if they had to. They give them a week's worth of food in case they are going to be homeless for a little while. And it's food that's not perishable and that they can heat up simply in a microwave and be able to eat for at least a week. They give them a month's worth of hygiene. They give them a bus pass so that they can get around. They give them a $25 gift certificate so they can go and buy maybe some clothes or something or whatever they might need. And they get a letter from the mayor welcoming them home. Wow. What does that say? That says that, okay, you made a mistake, but now we're more receptive to you coming. You think about it, just a letter from the mayor where that just says welcome back home to Durham. That makes a difference, because before you can change anything about a person, first you got to get to the mindset first.
Oh yeah.
Then from the mind to the heart. Then once they get that, but what would you feel if you felt like everything is against you and nobody's for you?
And that actually gets me to thinking about another question. I was just wondering, how do you feel that we're doing in terms of some of the institutions also helping? Are our churches doing a good job of working with the prison systems and helping them in terms of welcoming them home? Like I said, the city of Durham has come up with this program, but I was just wondering, do you think whether it's the major churches or the small churches, are they doing a good enough job, or can they do a better job?
I think they're doing a great job. We have some prisons have like sponsors to where you can volunteer sponsor at a prison, to where you can take some of the guys out for they get a certain level that allows them to be to leave the facility with a sponsor. But they take them to the local churches. They take them out to dinner. They take them around, because depending on how long you've been in, could you imagine, say if you was in prison for just 2 years, the new iPhone comes out. You've seen it on the commercials, but then one day you literally see what an iPhone looks like. You never touched it, but you see it, and it's a lot of things such as, yes, I had to transport a guy back home. He had been locked up for years, and I was taking him off of Fayetteville Street. His mother lived over there, and while we're driving from Hillsborough to Durham, he's like, "You're going the wrong way. We're supposed to be on such and such road." And I was like, "This is such and such road." He hadn't seen it for so long.
Wow.
That he was like amazed at. And then once he got to the house, and I'm like, "Okay, you're home." He literally just sat in the car for a while, because to have that kind of fear of, I don't even know, things have changed so much. And you've taken me out of a comfort zone of someplace where I was used to, because I was in a position, and that's part of what reentry does now. We're starting to look at it and say we have to try to make them more independent. Because in a prison setting, you have people that say, okay, this is what time you get up. This is what time you eat. This is what time you go to sleep. This is what time certain things happen. And then we do that for you for a number of years, and then we say, okay, you're free. But I've told you everything to do for that many years. I didn't prepare you for this moment. I just unleashed you to this moment.
Wow.
So the fear of just from day to day, how am I going to conduct myself in this? So reentry is about not only preparing you with the employment and helping with the legal, the health, the housing, it's trying to prepare you mentally for what's getting ready to happen, because the lifestyle that we live is so different in a prison setting. You know, it's like, okay, you don't really have to worry about if you get sick and you're in prison, you fill out a sick card and, you know, you have to go see the nurse. And if it's bad enough, we take you to the hospital.
Oh,
you
yeah.
get sick out here, you got to figure out how you're going to get to the hospital if you don't have insurance. And then you're going to have to sit there a while. And then hopefully you'll have medical insurance or something that's going to help you with that. Not saying that they have it easy, because when you look at it and you say, well, I don't want to give the impression that we're doing everything for them and they got it so easy in there. It's like you taking on for lack of a better term, a child. That child is your responsibility. It can't do for itself. So for that moment in time, they really can't do for themselves, because we have taken that part of it away. We've given you certain guidelines and rules. So with that comes certain responsibility on our part to make sure that we take care of you and part of that is preparing you to go back home. Because
right.
If you look at it from a standpoint, one thing that I look at from another standpoint and think about it, if you're a parent, if you have a small child, you've been placed in a prison setting. And some prisons are more violent than others. Not saying that violence doesn't happen in prisons. It does in some. But even with that, you're accustomed to basically kind of being aware of your surroundings at all times. You never know if somebody bump into you or whatever. You don't know what's going to happen or what could happen. Okay, now I let you go home. Your first day home, you go to the refrigerator. You're going to get yourself something to drink, some water. Your little 5-year-old daughter runs and grabs you on your leg. Now, that's a simple thing for us, because we'd be like, oh, that's my little child just running and grabbing me up against my leg. But if you're in prison, stuff like that, of somebody just grabbing you, takes on a whole different meaning.
Wow.
So your reaction to that may be a little different. And it's scary in the standpoint of thinking, what situations am I getting ready to face? Am I going to have somebody that's going to understand, well, I've been incarcerated for a while, so I might not be used to being in that family atmosphere right now. I've been incarcerated for a while, so I might not be used to the standpoint of, you might look at me strange when I get ready to take a bath. Because you see, I've been locked up for 5 years in prison.
Right.
So you don't understand all of that. And you very well hope that nobody ever does. But for those that live that life, it's totally different. It's a total atmosphere and different frame of mind that they have to get back to what we consider normal and leave what they consider to be normal in prison.
Yeah, they have to leave that behind. Now, one of the things that I think we talked to Bessie about, and I was just wondering your assessment of this, but if I remember correctly, one of the other things that has changed is you talked about folks getting jobs when they come out of the prison, but it seems to me that there was a time that you actually had to put down, some of your history, including your prison history. But I believe that North Carolina is one of the states that has changed that, so you don't necessarily have to reveal as much about your prison stay. Am I correct in that, or that's something that I misheard?
Well, they're definitely trying to ban on the application. They call it ban the box. That would have you have to, they're going to do a criminal check.
Right.
That's going to come later. But when they start saying in different companies, were you ever convicted? And you might have been doing great throughout the whole application until you check that I was convicted, and then yours gets thrown in the trash can.
Right.
Is that fair?
No, it's not. And in the state of New Jersey,
is it fair?
Newark was the first to ban